Welcome to Framework, the podcast that makes the NIST cybersecurity framework practical, engaging, and accessible. Whether you're a cybersecurity professional, business leader, or simply curious about how organizations defend against cyber threats, this series is for you. This podcast is inspired by a comprehensive guide to the NIST Cybersecurity Framework 2.0, a best-selling resource written by cybersecurity expert Dr. Jason Edwards and trusted by professionals worldwide. In each episode, we'll leverage a few insights from Jason's extensive book to dive deep into CSF 2.0, unpacking every function, category, and subcategory with real-world applications you can immediately use. If you're enjoying this episode and want to learn more, head over to cyberauthor.me to grab your copy of the book and access additional resources to enhance your cybersecurity journey. You can also visit baremetalcyber.com, where over 2 million people last year explored expert insights, articles, and practical tools across a wide range of cybersecurity topics. PR.DS-11 backups of data are created, protected, maintained, and tested. Data loss is one of the most significant threats organizations face in cybersecurity. PR.DS-11 ensures that backups are not only created, but also properly secured, maintained, and tested to guarantee recoverability when needed. This subcategory belongs to the Protect function within the National Institute of Standards and Technology Cybersecurity Framework, version 2.0, and is part of the Data Security category. It addresses the risk of data becoming unavailable due to cyber attacks, system failures, or physical disasters. Without a structured backup strategy, organizations face not only operational disruption, but also potential regulatory noncompliance and reputational damage. A well-maintained backup system ensures that data remains intact, retrievable, and protected against corruption or unauthorized access. Backups serve as a fundamental layer of defense against data loss by providing a reliable method to restore critical information. Cyber attacks such as ransomware often target an organization's primary data sources, encrypting or destroying files and demanding payment for their release. Without accessible and tested backups, businesses may be forced to either pay a ransom or suffer irreversible damage. Similarly, hardware failures, accidental deletions, and software corruption can render data inaccessible without warning. Maintaining an up-to-date backup strategy ensures that organizations can recover quickly, minimizing downtime and financial loss. Secure storage and periodic testing ensure that backups are both accessible and trustworthy when restoration is required. The responsibility for managing backups spans multiple roles across an organization. IT administrators and cybersecurity teams implement backup solutions, ensuring data is encrypted, securely stored, and regularly tested for reliability. Operational managers define critical data assets and set recovery priorities, determining which systems require frequent backups based on business continuity needs. Leadership, including chief information officers and chief security officers, establishes policies and allocates resources to maintain compliance with industry standards and regulatory requirements. Employees handling sensitive data must also follow backup procedures, ensuring that workstations, databases, and shared storage systems adhere to organizational backup policies. Backups of data are created, protected, maintained, and tested, ensuring that information remains recoverable in case of an incident. This requirement encompasses the full life cycle of backup management, from generating copies of essential data to safeguarding them against unauthorized access and validating their usability through systematic testing. Regular maintenance ensures that stored backups remain current and functional, preventing unexpected failures during restoration. By adhering to these principles, organizations can effectively reduce the risk of data loss while ensuring continuous operations. To understand how backup management supports cybersecurity, 5 key terms must be defined. A backup is a secondary copy of data stored separately from the original to allow for recovery in case of loss or corruption. Encryption is the process of converting backup data into a secure format that can only be accessed by authorized users with a decryption key, protecting it from cyber threats. Data integrity refers to the assurance that backup files remain unchanged and unaltered, maintaining their accuracy and reliability. A recovery point objective defines how frequently backups should be created, determining the amount of data an organization is willing to lose in the event of an incident. A recovery time objective establishes the maximum acceptable downtime before data must be restored, ensuring that business operations can resume without major disruption. Interpreting backup requirements can be challenging when organizations assume that simply creating backups is sufficient. One misconception is that all backups are automatically secure. If not encrypted or stored in a separate network, backups can be targeted by attackers, making them ineffective in a ransomware event. Another challenge is the failure to test backups regularly. Many organizations discover too late that their backup files are corrupted, outdated, or missing critical information. A final misconception is that cloud storage alone qualifies as a backup strategy. While cloud-based backups provide redundancy, they must still be encrypted, version-controlled, and tested to confirm their integrity. Effective backup management requires an ongoing strategy that integrates security, validation, and accessibility. A strong backup strategy ensures that organizations can recover from cyber incidents, technical failures, and unexpected disruptions. The purpose of PR.DS-11 is to establish a systematic approach to backing up data that aligns with security best practices and operational needs. Regularly scheduled backups reduce the risk of data loss, while secure storage methods prevent unauthorized access. Testing and verification ensure that backups are not only available but also functional when needed. These efforts collectively support business continuity, regulatory compliance, and risk management by providing a safeguard against catastrophic data loss. By protecting backup data with encryption, access controls, and network segmentation, organizations reduce the likelihood of backups becoming a vulnerability. Cyber criminals frequently target unprotected backups to disable recovery options during an attack. Properly managed backups strengthen an organization's cybersecurity posture by ensuring that even if primary data is compromised, restoration remains possible without disruption. Testing restores from backups at defined intervals confirms their effectiveness, allowing businesses to refine their recovery processes and identify weaknesses before an actual incident occurs. Backup management also relies on integration with other cybersecurity functions. Without proper asset management, organizations may not know which data is critical and needs to be backed up, weakening their protect and detect capabilities. The recover function depends on tested backups to restore operations after an incident, making it essential for business continuity planning. Detection mechanisms such as integrity monitoring help identify corruption or unauthorized changes to backup files, ensuring they remain reliable. By aligning backup strategies with broader cybersecurity objectives, organizations create a more resilient infrastructure capable of withstanding cyber threats and operational disruptions. Failing to implement a structured backup strategy can have severe consequences for an organization. One of the most immediate risks is permanent data loss, which can occur due to ransomware attacks, accidental deletions, or hardware failures. Without reliable backups, an organization may lose access to critical records, customer data, or operational logs, leading to severe financial and reputational damage. Another major consequence is extended downtime, where an organization struggles to recover from a cyber incident or technical failure, causing disruption to business operations. This downtime not only affects productivity, but can also result in lost revenue and regulatory non-compliance. Additionally, data corruption and integrity failures pose a significant risk. If backups are not regularly tested, organizations may discover too late that their recovery files are incomplete, outdated, or unusable, leading to a false sense of security. Proper backup management delivers substantial benefits that enhance security and operational resilience. A well-implemented backup strategy ensures fast and reliable recovery, allowing an organization to restore critical data swiftly after an incident. This reduces downtime and maintains customer confidence by ensuring business continuity. Another key advantage is protection against cyber threats, particularly ransomware. Encrypted, immutable backups, stored separately from primary systems, prevent attackers from disabling an organization's ability to recover. Organizations that follow best practices can avoid paying ransom demands and instead restore operations using secure backup files. Lastly, compliance with industry regulations is a crucial outcome of effective backup management. Many regulatory frameworks, such as financial and healthcare data protection standards, require organizations to maintain backup copies of sensitive information. Adhering to these requirements mitigates legal and financial risks while reinforcing trust with stakeholders. The level of backup maturity varies widely across organizations. At the partial tier, backup management is informal and reactive. Organizations at this stage may rely on manual backup processes, such as periodically copying files to an external drive without encryption or verification. This approach is prone to errors, as backups may not be created consistently, and there is no guarantee that they will be available when needed. A small business, for instance, may store unencrypted customer data on a shared drive without off-site redundancy, leaving it vulnerable to cyber attacks and system failures. At the risk-informed tier, organizations begin implementing structured backup policies, though their processes may still lack full consistency. Backups are performed at regular intervals and include some level of encryption and off-site storage. However, testing is often limited or irregular, increasing the risk of discovering backup failures during an actual incident. A mid-sized company, for example, may back up its databases to a cloud service, but only verify them once a year, leaving gaps in its ability to recover recent data in case of corruption or cyber attack. At the repeatable tier, backup management is well integrated into daily operations with standardized procedures for encryption, testing, and recovery validation. Organizations ensure that critical data is backed up at predefined intervals and stored securely, often using a combination of cloud and physical storage. Testing is conducted on a scheduled basis, confirming that backups are functional and recoverable. A financial institution at this stage might back up transaction records every hour, enforce strict access controls, and conduct quarterly recovery drills to validate data integrity. At the adaptive tier, backup processes are dynamic, continuously evolving to address emerging threats and operational changes. Advanced automation ensures real-time backups, and sophisticated monitoring tools detect anomalies or unauthorized modifications in backup files. Organizations at this level proactively refine their recovery strategies, incorporating artificial intelligence to predict risks and optimize response times. A global technology firm may implement real-time encrypted backups with built-in integrity checks, automatically validating and restoring data in response to system failures or cyber incidents. Backup management aligns with several key controls in the National Institute of Standards and Technology Special Publication 800-53, ensuring that data remains secure, recoverable, and protected from unauthorized access. One relevant control is CP-9 Contingency Planning Recovery, which requires organizations to establish and maintain reliable backup solutions as part of their business continuity strategies. This control ensures that data can be restored in the event of a system failure, cyber attack, or natural disaster. An example of implementation can be seen in a financial services firm that performs daily backups of customer transaction data, encrypts it for security, and stores multiple copies in geographically separated locations to ensure accessibility even if one data center is compromised. Another essential control is SC-13 cryptographic protection, which mandates the use of strong encryption to protect the confidentiality and integrity of backup data. Without encryption, backup files can become an easy target for cybercriminals who seek to exfiltrate or manipulate sensitive information. A healthcare provider implementing this control might use advanced encryption standards to protect patient medical records before storing them in an off-site backup system. By ensuring that only authorized personnel with the correct decryption keys can access the data, the organization minimizes the risk of breaches and unauthorized modification. A third relevant control is CP-6, alternate storage sites, which requires organizations to maintain backup copies at physically separate locations to prevent loss due to localized disasters or targeted cyber attacks. This ensures redundancy, allowing organizations to recover data even if their primary backup system becomes unavailable. A manufacturing company might implement this control by storing backups of its production schedules in both an on-premises server and a cloud-based infrastructure located in a different region. By distributing backup storage across multiple locations, the company ensures that its critical operational data remains accessible even in the face of catastrophic events. These controls can be scaled based on an organization's size and complexity. A small business may implement CP-9 by using an automated cloud backup service that ensures recent copies of critical files are available for recovery. A larger enterprise might establish a more sophisticated backup framework using encrypted backups stored in multiple secure data centers with real-time synchronization. The ability to adapt these controls ensures that organizations of all sizes can maintain secure and recoverable backup systems that align with their operational needs and risk tolerance. Auditors evaluate backup compliance by examining whether organizations have structured, documented, and regularly tested backup policies in place. They assess whether backups are conducted at appropriate intervals, stored securely, and tested to confirm that they function correctly. Audit teams review backup logs, storage configurations, and recovery test reports to verify that an organization can restore data effectively when needed. If an organization lacks formalized backup procedures or cannot demonstrate recent successful recovery tests, it may be flagged for non-compliance with cybersecurity best practices and industry regulation. To verify backup effectiveness, auditors seek several key types of evidence. Backup logs provide records of when backups were created, what data was included, and where the copies were stored. Encryption configurations confirm that backup data is protected against unauthorized access. Recovery test reports demonstrate that backups have been successfully restored, verifying their integrity and usability. If an organization stores backups in an off-site or cloud environment, auditors may also examine access control policies to ensure that only authorized personnel can retrieve or modify backup files. A scenario illustrating successful compliance might involve a financial institution that undergoes an audit and provides detailed records showing that backups of all customer transactions are encrypted, tested quarterly, and stored in multiple secure locations. Auditors confirm that recovery drills are conducted regularly and that backup policies align with regulatory requirements. In contrast, an organization that fails to implement routine testing may face findings that highlight weaknesses in its ability to restore critical data, potentially leading to remediation requirements or compliance penalties. Implementation barriers often arise when organizations overlook key aspects of backup management. One common challenge is insufficient backup frequency, where data is not backed up often enough to capture recent changes. This can result in significant data loss if an organization is forced to restore from an outdated backup. A company that only performs monthly backups, for instance, could lose an entire month of critical records following a cyber attack or hardware failure. Another challenge is failure to test backups consistently. Some organizations assume that backups are functional simply because they exist, only to discover during a crisis that files are corrupted or incomplete. A healthcare provider that does not regularly test its backup system might be unable to restore patient data after a ransomware attack, causing significant operational and legal issues. Without routine recovery testing, backup strategies remain unverified and unreliable. A third barrier is lack of secure storage and access controls. If backups are stored in the same network as primary systems or remain accessible without proper authentication, they become vulnerable to cyber threats. Ransomware attacks often target unprotected backups to prevent organizations from restoring data, leaving them with no choice but to pay a ransom or suffer data loss. Organizations that fail to implement proper access restrictions risk compromising their own recovery capabilities. Overcoming these barriers requires a combination of automation, policy enforcement, and continuous monitoring. Implementing automated backup solutions ensures that backups occur at regular intervals without relying on manual processes. Establishing a robust testing schedule verifies that data can be successfully restored when needed. Encrypting backup files and applying strict access controls further enhances security, preventing unauthorized modifications or deletions. By integrating these best practices, organizations can ensure that their backup strategies remain reliable, secure, and aligned with industry standards. Ensuring that backup strategies remain effective requires continuous assessment and adaptation. Organizations that fail to align their backup processes with evolving threats and operational changes may find themselves unprepared when a recovery scenario arises. One way to mitigate this risk is by integrating backup validation into cybersecurity audits and routine security reviews. By treating backup integrity as an ongoing priority rather than a one-time implementation, businesses can ensure that their data remains recoverable, regardless of emerging threats. A crucial consideration in backup management is the selection of appropriate backup storage locations. On-premises backups provide fast recovery times but are vulnerable to local disasters, such as fires, floods, or cyber attacks that compromise an entire network. Cloud-based backups offer redundancy and off-site storage but require strong encryption to prevent unauthorized access. A hybrid approach, where critical data is stored in both on-premises and cloud environments, often provides the best balance between speed and security. Organizations should evaluate their risk exposure and business needs when choosing storage methods, ensuring that their backup solutions align with industry best practices and regulatory requirements. Another key factor is retention policies and versioning. Simply having a backup is not enough. Organizations must define how long backup copies are retained and how frequently they are updated. Short retention periods may lead to the accidental loss of important records, while excessively long retention can increase storage costs and regulatory complexity. Implementing version control allows businesses to restore data from different points in time, which is critical for recovering from ransomware attacks that encrypt files over an extended period. Financial institutions, for example, may retain multiple versions of transaction data to comply with legal obligations and protect against fraud. Ensuring backup security is another vital component of an effective backup strategy. Backups that are not properly protected against tampering or unauthorized access can become a liability rather than an asset. Implementing encryption, multi-factor authentication, and strict access controls prevents unauthorized users from modifying or deleting backup files. Additionally, organizations should segment backup storage from primary systems to prevent attackers from simultaneously compromising both active data and its backup copies. Backup automation and orchestration improve efficiency while reducing human error. Manual backup processes are prone to inconsistencies, leading to missed backups or outdated copies. Automated backup systems ensure that data is consistently captured at predefined intervals, while orchestration tools provide a structured approach to backup management. Integrating monitoring, reporting, and recovery workflows, an enterprise that automates its backup operations can quickly identify failures and take corrective action before an actual data loss event occurs. Investing in backup monitoring and anomaly detection helps organizations identify potential issues before they impact business operations. Backup failures, corruption, or unauthorized modifications can be detected in real time, allowing cybersecurity teams to respond proactively. Some advanced backup solutions leverage artificial intelligence to analyze backup patterns and detect anomalies that may indicate a cyber attack or data integrity issue. A large-scale retail company, for example, may use AI-driven backup monitoring to identify suspicious activity, such as an unexpected surge in modified backup files that could indicate ransomware encryption in progress. For organizations seeking to improve their backup strategies, staff training and awareness play a crucial role. Employees responsible for managing backups must be trained in backup best practices, including security protocols, recovery procedures, and compliance requirements. Without adequate training, even well-designed backup systems can fail due to misconfiguration, incorrect usage, or oversight. Organizations should conduct regular backup drills and tabletop exercises to ensure that personnel understand how to restore data in an actual emergency. Regulatory compliance further emphasizes the importance of proper backup management. Many industries, such as healthcare, finance, and legal services, have strict requirements regarding data retention, encryption, and recoverability. Failing to meet these standards can result in regulatory penalties, legal action, or reputational harm. Organizations must ensure that their backup policies align with relevant regulations and that they can provide evidence of compliance when audited. Ultimately, a resilient backup strategy is not just about meeting compliance requirements or preventing data loss. It is about ensuring the continuity and stability of business operations. Organizations that take a proactive approach to backup security, testing, and validation will be better prepared to handle cyber threats, technical failures, and unforeseen disruptions. With the right combination of technology, policies, and personnel, businesses can maintain reliable access to their critical data while minimizing risks. That wraps up today's discussion on Framework. Don't stop here. Head over to cyberauthor.me to explore more cybersecurity topics and discover a best-selling book covering NIST and other critical cyber frameworks. Please like, rate, and review this episode on Apple and Spotify. Until next time, remember that knowledge is power.